And welcome in to another edition of Fourth Down in the Steel City. Housekeeping out of the way, let us remind you to subscribe to Fourth Down in the Steel City. Follow, click a notification bell, whatever you're going to do. Whether you're watching it here on YouTube, which some of you may be doing, thank you very much. And whether you're listening in your favorite podcast app, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, iTunes, or that free Odyssey app, AUDACY, make sure you're following and subscribe to Fourth Down in the Steel City so you get new episodes as soon as they are available, including one we'll have for you post-game after Steelers-Rams that night, Sunday night, early Monday morning, to break it all down. If you missed the Building the Game Plan episode, what are you doing? Come on, go back and listen to that one first, and then come back for our picks, okay? You got all weekend. We got you covered. Alongside producer Greg Finley and Josh Taylor, I'm Chris Mack, and this is our hot sheet edition. This for, my God, we're already at week 7 of the NFL season. Where has the time gone, Greg? What are our records? Who's in first place? Tell me.
It's kind of crazy that it's already week 7. Chris, you're at 52-41 and in first place. Josh just one game behind you at 51-42.
Wow.
And Jermichael way in the back at 45-48, 7 games out of first place.
How big was my lead at one point? It was like 6 or 7 games, I want to say.
Hang on. Let me look. You had a 4-game lead there, and 4-game lead looks like your largest.
Okay.
You're Mike Vrabelling it right now, Chris.
Josh,
You're totally Mike Vrabelling it right now.
Josh stayed in pace with you most of the way, even though you had a monster week when you just absolutely killed it at 14-2.
It's been all downhill since there.
Well, it happens.
Hey,
all right.
You wouldn't be the first guy to blow 4-game lead. That's what I'm saying.
True.
But he's top 5, though, Chris.
So
I'm going to say it every chance I get. I don't care.
So last week, guys, we all did well. Chris went 10-5, Josh went 10-5, Greg went 9-6. So we all finished above 500. It was a good week, despite the fact that the Eagles lost to the Jets and the 49ers lost to the Browns.
What?
We still did okay.
Cats and dogs living together. Real end of the world stuff.
I mean, just crazy.
Nonsense. What do we got this week?
So we move on now to week 7, and we start with a great one. Just a great matchup. 2 teams that are really in it.
Whoa.
With 2 backup quarterbacks starting. It's Las Vegas and Chicago.
Oh.
Bears plus 3.5. Neither team's going to have a starting quarterback in this game.
Do we have to do this? Can't this just be a simulation?
Yeah, we need to sim through this one because, good God.
I'll be honest.
Let's see. It's Brian Hoyer for Las Vegas.
Oh my God.
Wow.
And he beat Belichick and the Patriots last week, which is hilarious.
That part is hilarious, yes.
And so did Josh McDaniels. And then Justin Fields is doubtful. So the quarterback will be Tyson Bagent.
Oh my God.
Out of Shepherd College.
unless it's Nate Peterman, who I think is their third string.
Nate Peterman.
Oh dear Lord. I guess that the Bears are a disaster. I can't bet on Josh McDaniels on the road, can I?
Technically, you can. It's just
you know what?
maybe
You know
not
what?
The best idea.
Take the plus 3.5.
3.5. Yep, it's the hook. The hook brings you back. Give me the Bears at home dogs plus 3.5.
I agree with that. I'm doing the same thing. Josh?
I guess I'm the one guy who has faith in Brian Hoyer. I guess it's just me. It really is. In this game, in most games, I don't go by who the quarterback is. In this game, I go by who the quarterback is. I'm going to go with the fact that it's Brian Hoyer, and he still has Devontae Adams to throw the ball to. He still has Josh Jacobs to hand it off to. He's still got chances and guys around him to, at the very least, even if he's not great, they can make him look better. I'll ride that out, especially against a team like Chicago. That is literally where the house is falling down around them. Yeah. So give me the Raiders.
Okay. Fair points.
It's Las Vegas on the East Coast. Well, technically not the East Coast. It's in Chicago.
That's Chicago. It's the Brock Purdy effect.
Maybe.
Let's call it that.
Maybe. Okay.
Well, that That'll be a very bad game that no one's going to be watching
going to be
anyway.
It's going
Whatever
to be so
red
bad.
zone goes to it, Hanson's going to be like, we have to do this because of contract obligations. We show every touchdown.
Every time they go to it, will be the witching hour because you never know what's going to happen.
Ooh.
All right. Another just awesome matchup. Cleveland at Indy. Gardner Minshew's the quarterback for the rest of the season because Anthony Richardson is out for the rest of the year. Deshaun Watson more than likely is playing in this game. The Browns just beat the 49ers in a game that was quarterbacked by P.J. Walker. That's all I need to hear. I'm taking Cleveland.
Yeah, their defense is scary, but Minshew mania. I'm trying not to be an anti-Cleveland homer here. You know what? Another home dog. Give me the home dog. Give me the Colts and the points.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cleveland's defense showed you exactly what they were against San Francisco, which is the exact same thing that they were exactly against the Steelers. They are who we thought they were, and they still are who we think they are. They are going to make it hard for Gardner Minshew. They can play straight up man with those guys in that defensive backfield. Their safeties move around. They still got Myles Garrett. And Deshaun Watson playing in this game will probably just be icing on the cake. Cleveland 2.5 seems easy to me.
Yep. Agreed. Buffalo at New England. Patriots plus 8.5.
8.5. When's the last time the Patriots been this big a home dog? I'd love to know. That sounds
Pete
like
Carroll days, maybe?
Maybe. The first year of Belichick, maybe.
Maybe.
Good with Pete Carroll. Hey, Drew Bledsoe and Meggett and Ben Coates.
It's just, but that, I mean, you're going to have to go back a while, I think, to find out. Because, man.
Bills cover this. Bills cover this, no problem. Like, they win by
Yes.
at least 2 touchdowns.
Yes, and Belichick will try everything he can defensively to slow down Josh Allen. Greg and I have been talking about this for, a year and a half now. God help the team that faces Buffalo when they decide to run the ball. Here we go. This is that time. Give me the Bills.
I'm very disappointed with Buffalo's efforts on Sunday Night Football against Tyrod Taylor. That being said, Mac Jones is even worse than Tyrod Taylor. I'll take Buffalo and the points. But if they let me down this week, that might be it for Buffalo and big spreads.
Yeah.
Just another great matchup. Washington at the New York Football Giants. Giants plus 1.5.
You know what? I've been more of a Sam Howell believer than most. Whether that's worthwhile or not,
Me too.
I think. Well, I guess there's a chance Daniel Jones will be back. A very good chance Daniel Jones will be back. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing for the Giants.
Thing.
Yeah,
I like the Giants offense better without Daniel Jones, and they were running the ball. That's just me.
It looked all right with Tyrod.
Yeah.
Give me the Commanders.
Yeah,
Josh?
I'm going Washington too. For a lot of the reasons that Chris laid out. Sam Howell has been really, really good with Eric Bieniemy as his offensive coordinator. They have weapons in Washington, and I don't know why this keeps getting glossed over because Brian Robinson is good, Terry McLaurin is good. They got guys that can move the ball, and they found the right combination to do it. And the Giants, I thought they really gave Buffalo a game, and I think part of that was just because no one saw this coming. But yeah, I think Washington will be ready to do enough to keep the Giants off balance. So I'll take the Commanders.
Yeah, 1.5 seems like a steal. I'll take Washington as
Yeah.
well. Atlanta at Tampa Bay. Bucks minus 2.5.
Ooh, is Mayfield healthy? Do we know? I can't believe.
He's
I
playing.
can't believe that's the big factor in this one for me. Give me the Bucks. Bucks at home, laying the points against the Falcons.
Same. Tampa seems to be pretty aggressive offensively when they're at home. Baker Mayfield, Mike Evans, it's a thing. That pair has become a thing, and they've managed to get to 3-2 at this point, and we're looking at them going, how are they 3-2? The same way we're looking at the Steelers going, how are they 3-2? And this is a matchup that I think favors them, so I'll take the Bucks.
This division is terrible.
Yes, it's
Truly
awful.
terrible. Like
Yeah.
I think we all had the Saints winning it by default at the beginning of the year, but
Yeah.
the fact that Atlanta is right there in it, the Bucks with Baker currently at the top at 3-2, and Carolina is just miserable.
The Steelers swept this division last year.
Yeah, I wish that I wish that
right.
they would play this division.
Swept this division last season.
This division's
Whoa.
horrible. I'm gonna take the Bucks by default, although Atlanta has made me look stupid whenever I pick against them, but we're gonna take them. Didn't they just beat Washington last week?
They're impossible to predict, though. Like, you have no idea what they may look like from week to week to week. Atlanta, you don't even know what kind of team they may look like. Yeah. One week they may decide to run it 38 times. Another week they may decide to throw it 52 times. Like, completely and totally personality-less, I think.
I'm wrong. They didn't beat Washington. I took them, and they didn't even cover. They lost by 8. That's right. Yeah, like they drafted Bijan, and they're giving Algier the ball more than they give the ball to Bijan Robinson. And they don't know their identity. Yeah, they don't know their own identity in Atlanta.
And they drafted him 7th overall, Bijan?
Yeah, and it took them this long to realize Kyle Pitts is a pretty good guy to throw the ball to. It took them this long. Oh, I hate Atlanta. I'll take Tampa Bay because of that.
I want to put in proper perspective for those of you that may be new to Fourth Down in the Steel City or any sort of media containing our wonderful producer, Greg Finley. Greg is a very kind soul who never says he hates something. Like,
he's a very nice person.
Greg does not say he hates things, especially living things. He just told you he hates like 75 living things in the Atlanta Falcons. All of them. Every last one of them. He hates them. So
hate the Braves too after they choked in the playoffs. You can add them
to
man.
The whole city of Atlanta. He's after you. Trey Young, you're next.
He's on my fantasy team and he stinks this year. You know where I'm coming. All right. This should probably be the game that we get on Sunday. Actually, I'm gonna guarantee this is the game we get on Sunday.
I want this one.
Detroit at Baltimore. Ravens -3.5.
Oh, this one is hard. Like
I can't
foresee.
Not for me, it isn't.
I can't foresee Lamar putting out another Steelers level performance the way he always seemingly plays against the Steelers. Actually, last week wasn't his fault. It was his receivers.
No, it wasn't.
They should have put up. We outlined how many points they left on the field against the Steelers.
His receivers, his offensive line, and his coach all let him down.
And they did the same thing last week with Tennessee and London. They kicked 6 field goals. They couldn't finish a drive to save their lives last week.
I don't know why I can't buy in on the Lions, though. Like, I don't know what my mental block is that I can't buy in.
Because it's the Lions. It's the Lions.
It's the history of the Detroit Lions.
You're used to not buying in on the Lions. It makes sense.
Like, if you stripped the name and the logo away, and I just saw, like, the players that they have, the talent that they have, going in, even going into Baltimore, going into the Baltimore defense as it's currently constructed and getting 3 points, I'd be like, oh, yeah, I like that. That's a live road dog. Absolutely. But they're still the Lions, and I can't. Give me the Ravens laying the 3. I'm going to take the Ravens against my better judgment. 3.5. Oh, the hook.
Yep.
I'm looking forward to seeing that blood dripping down your shins by the time this one's over. They're gonna bite my kneecaps. They're biting your kneecaps down in Baltimore. Hey, you know, let's be honest about this. Let's actually let's do the same thing. We strip the name Detroit Lions away.
Right.
Do you know what that offense is? That offense in Detroit is what everybody thinks San Francisco's offense is. A really good offensive line. Some talented skill guys and a quarterback that makes good decisions. If you put those two blind taste test, they wouldn't look that different. And 2 good play callers, they would not look that different. And that's what Detroit is right now. I think they're going to exploit what Baltimore's doing offense. You guys both said it. Baltimore's had problems finishing drives off. You can't trade threes with this Detroit offense. And even if it comes down to them winning by a field goal or having the ball at the end of it, that'll be enough for me. I'm going with the fighting kneecappers. They're going to be 6-1 by the end of this thing. And I'm going to laugh. It's going to make no sense to me.
Josh taking them to win the division at the beginning of the season. He is just laughing in our faces.
Yeah, it's a good call.
Hey, for every pick for Detroit to win the division, I also had Denver in the playoffs. So.
That's right.
Yeah, but we had the Vikings winning the division. So
it balances itself out. It balances itself out. That's all I'm saying.
The scales of justice.
So
yes.
I just
Football
looked.
Justice.
We are not getting this game because Fox is just a single, and it's the Steelers.
Yeah.
Boo.
So, NFL Red Zone, friends. They'll
Yep.
have a lot of look-ins on Detroit and Baltimore.
Who are you taking, Greg?
I'm taking the Lions, man. I don't trust the Ravens after what I've seen from them the last couple of weeks. And the same exact reasons Josh laid out. Not only do they have great skill players at receiver and their tight end has been a beast,
And they're not highly paid all pro bowler guys either.
but David Montgomery has looked incredible for this football team. And the way that he's running the football, they can kill as much clock as they want to keep Lamar off the field. Aiden Hutchinson's going to have a big day and get to Lamar. I'm taking the Lions, man.
Wait, Greg. Isn't David Montgomery on your fantasy team too?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I knew there was
man.
something behind it.
I have him and Christian McCaffrey on one of my teams.
Oh,
it's
come on.
incredible.
That's unfair.
Jeez, that is unfair.
Yet I still gave up the most amount of points this season, so I don't have that many wins because I've given up the most amount of points. And I've scored the most amount of points, so that's fun. Okay.
You're like an air raid team, basically. You're USC.
Yeah. 4 o'clock window. Steelers at the Rams. Rams minus 3.5.
Man, the hook.
Let's get crazy.
The hook. Boz with a walk-off field goal late. Give me the Steelers.
What's your final score prediction? Just out of curiosity.
It's going to be classic Steelers. It's going to be like 19-16.
Nice.
I'm with Chris on this one. This is a field goal game. The question is, which team is the one that kicks the field goal? And when you have a 3.5 point spread, it doesn't matter. So, especially if you're taking the underdog. So I'll take the Steelers plus 3.5. Even if they don't win this thing, they probably lose by field goal.
Oh, this is dangerous. I have the Steelers as well. And I wrote down when
Yep.
my friend
That's
asked
it.
me my prediction, 17-14 Steelers, 3-point
Yep.
win.
There you go.
Boswell game-winning field goal.
They got to win a game like this ugly. When you're outmatched the way they are as far as what they do and what the Rams do, you got to pull them down into the mud and get ugly.
I looked at the last couple of games that the Rams had Cooper Kupp back. He does big things, but nobody else does. If the Steelers can find a way to utilize Minka in that center field position where he can take away Cooper Kupp and you make Puka Nacua beat you, like Nacua is very good, but he's not Cooper Kupp. Like you'd be okay with letting him get the ball compared to Cooper Kupp.
2014 Pistons, Chris, or 2004 Pistons.
Oh, yeah. It
2004
doesn't have to be
Pistons.
pretty. Doesn't have to be pretty.
Telling you. People keep coming Mike Tomlin, go, you giving up all these yards, and Mike Tomlin's like, keep watching. 2004 Pistons. I'm telling you.
Yep.
This is it.
What do you mean by that? I was 10 years old and didn't have cable at that
Well,
time.
remember we talked about this. Which game was that? Was it after the Cleveland game or was it after the Vegas game? I think it was
after-
Cleveland.
One of the two. It's
I think it was
yeah.
after Cleveland.
But yeah.
Like just, you let the big dog eat. You let Shaq get his, and don't let Kobe kill you, or don't let
Right.
anybody else on the team kill you. Shaq's going to get his 25 points and 15 rebounds and a couple of blocks, and probably get 10 dunks in, and one of them's going to break the backboard. But don't let anybody else kill you. And that's what the Pistons didn't know for, and that's how they beat the Lakers. I know this because as a Laker fan, I was very frustrated about it. But that's what they got to do.
We don't talk about Bruno, Josh. You're talking about Bruno.
The Lakers are Bruno. We don't talk about Bruno. You're right.
Here is my Survivor poll pick of the week.
Oh.
Seattle hosting Arizona.
Oh.
Seahawks minus 7.5. Seattle and the points. Yes, please.
I don't know if I like it with that. 7.5 might be
It
too much.
scares
for
me too.
Yeah. I think
They're-
I'm gonna.
They're at least
think-
going to win the Survivor poll pick.
Yeah.
Sure.
Oh yeah,
Sure.
yeah. I don't like the Cardinals to win outright, but I think you know what? Here's a swing for me. It is on the road. It is in Seattle. So you know what? I'll take a leap of faith and I'll lay the 7.5 at Seattle.
Welcome to the dark side, Chris.
I'm actually going Seattle too, only because Arizona they've shown flashes with that offense, but Seattle has that they've got that group. They got a couple guys that can run the ball. Geno Smith doesn't make a lot of killer mistakes, and they got a couple receivers that can still, at least at the very least, they may not burn you, but they can be really efficient and really strengthen out and really lengthen out some drives. They can play keep away and just really starve Arizona out. So give me Seattle.
Yeah, I think Kenneth Walker III will be the difference, and he's been the difference all season long. That
Yeah.
guy, is an animal.
He was lights out at Michigan State too.
Oh yeah,
he's the guy that got Mel Tucker that contract that he ended up squandering.
Mm-hmm.
When he was ranked low this year in fantasy. I was like, did people not watch this guy in college and what he did last year, his rookie season? He was very good last year, and he's even better this year.
No, he's a beast.
Sticking in the 4:00 window, just another awesome matchup. Green Bay at Denver. The Broncos are the worst football team I think we've ever watched take the field, and Russell Wilson has proved that it's not Nathaniel Hackett's fault that they were terrible last year. Russell Wilson's awful.
That defense is awful.
I'm taking Green Bay by default, man.
All of it.
They're getting Aaron Jones back. Packers win.
Yeah, Green Bay on the road. I'm there as well. The Broncos are a disaster. I'm going to fade Russ for the rest of his life.
We can keep talking about Russ. It was that defense that gave up 70 points. That defense is bad. Yeah. It's not just Russ. It wasn't just Hackett. That defense is they're still trying to. They can't get their feet underneath them, and I don't think Green Bay's going to let them. So Packers 1.5 on the road. That's 4.5 on the neutral site. Give me the Packers.
Yep. All right. We have a lot of the same picks here. It's going to be a really good week or a really bad week.
Yep.
Here's the Nance Romo game. Chargers at the Chiefs. Kansas City -5.5.
Brandon Staley will not be the coach of this team by Thanksgiving.
Wow.
Chiefs -5.5.
Yeah, baby. Take that big spread, Chris.
Yep.
I'm taking the Chiefs for the exact same reason why after what we talked about last week, at some point between when we taped last week's hot sheet and before kickoff, I came to my senses and said, wait a minute, I don't trust Brandon Staley. What am I doing? And I told Greg, I changed my pick to the Cowboys. I totally remembered that I didn't trust Brandon Staley, and my distrust in him paid off. It's probably the biggest pick I made that whole week by changing that one.
Big move by you, yeah.
I'm sticking with this by not trusting Brandon Staley. Chris, I think, is on to something. Give me Kansas City. He shouldn't have been back this year.
My favorite part of that whole sequence was whenever you said, oh, no, I took the Cowboys. I must have been tired that week. I went back to the YouTube video, watched where we picked that game, and you said, I'm taking the Chargers because of Kellen Moore. I was like, Josh wants to take the Chargers?
And later on, it was like around kickoff, I'm like, wait a minute. I don't trust Brandon Staley. Who cares if I trust Kellen Moore? I still don't trust Brandon Staley.
And the Cowboys.
Change my pick.
Cowboys got it done. I'm taking Kansas City as well. Taylor Swift will probably be at that game, and it'll be very annoying. Miami at Philly, a great Sunday night football game. This time I'm not being sarcastic. This is a good game. Miami
this is a classic.
At Philly, the Eagles are -1.5. I'm taking the Dolphins, guys. What I saw from the Eagles last week, I know that the Dolphins don't have the kind of defense that the Jets do, but I don't think Philly can win in a shootout with Miami. I think Miami's winning this game.
Yeah, I've seen just a few too many blemishes on the Eagles this year. Look, they're still really, really good. I still don't know if I'd necessarily, especially if the Niners have to deal with any injuries once we get to playoff time, if I'd necessarily back away from my pick of Eagles for NFC champs either. But I will say in this matchup in particular, to your point, Greg, the way they've played the last few weeks, the way Miami has played, give me the Dolphins in 1.5 on the road? Sure, why not? Philly fans are too focused on baseball right now to really be worked into a lather for the Eagles.
What are you talking about? Don't boo anybody. They don't care. It's Philly. Here's where I remind you guys the teams that Miami has beaten. The Chargers, who Chris just said their coach can be fired by Thanksgiving. The Patriots, whom everybody's ready to write off because they think Belichick has lost his touch. They dropped 70 on Denver, whom we agree that the entire team is a smoldering tire fire. The Giants, who are just awful, they're 1-5, and Carolina.
Are you calling the Dolphins paper champs?
The only team the only team they faced of any kind of note and consequence was Buffalo, and the Bills held them to 20 and scored 48.
Paper champs.
All I'm saying is that this is the second legit team they're going to face all year.
But the Eagles lost to the Jets.
The Eagles lost to the Jets, but the Jets have a good defense, and that's why they lost.
They do.
The Dolphins do not have the defense that the Jets do. Greg, you said it yourself. And the Eagles have a defense that can actually give Miami a hard time because they can beat them up front. It could be a close one, but Philly 1.5. honestly, that slides in the Phillies' favor. I'm taking the Eagles. They're facing a good team, man. They face good teams, and they look mortal. They've been beating up on bad teams all year.
All right.
Tyreek Hill goes for a third touchdown, and Josh sends us. I'm glad I made that switch right before kickoff.
Nope. I see. I'm telling you, I'm sticking with this one, dude.
All right.
Miami has the one good team they faced walloped them by 28.
No, you're right.
That's all I'm saying.
That's a good point. Finally, Monday Night Football. I don't know who's playing in this game or not for San Francisco, but the 49ers are minus 7.5 at the Vikings without Justin Jefferson.
Niners. I don't have to think about it too much. No Jefferson, no Vikings. Niners, even if there's no McCaffrey and no Debo, give me the Niners.
Here's the crazy thing about San Francisco. We talked about them having no Debo and no Christian McCaffrey possibly. That defense can still drag you into the mud.
And they will.
Just like a couple other ones can. And granted, they're playing indoors in Minnesota, but they're going to drag them right down into those rubber granules.
Yep.
And beat Minnesota into the ground. I got the 49ers.
You know those times when you see some poor dude get up off one of those turf fields and he's just got the rubber pellets all over his face?
I mean, Kirk Cousins.
That's going to be Captain Kirk at least once on Monday night.
Stay down, Rocky. Stay down.
Hey, kids, stay down.
Whenever Bosa and Fred Warner are just like sandwiching him.
Tap dancing on his head. Yeah.
And remember what I told you. That 49ers defense loves to hit people. They love it, and they're going to do it a lot.
Yeah, the Vikings have no chance without Justin Jefferson. I'm taking the 49ers and the points, and that, my friends, is Week 7.
All right, we'll see how it turns out. Like you said earlier, Greg, a lot of games we're all just similar on, so it'll either be really good or really bad. There's no such thing as somewhere in the middle and room temperature here on Fourth Down in the Steel City. It's got to be one wild extreme or the other. Again, don't forget, after Steelers-Rams, Sunday night, early Monday morning, depending on your schedule, we will have a brand new episode of Fourth Down in the Steel City available to you to break down everything that goes on out in L.A. on Sunday afternoon, early evening, and, of course, all next week. We'll keep you covered for the build-up to Steelers, Jags as well. So make sure you have either tapped that little notification button if you're watching on YouTube or decided to follow or subscribe to the podcast, however you get it, and you'll be notified as soon as we've got the next episode ready for you of Fourth Down in the Steel City.